As I progressed in my career, I started to notice something. The teams that were performing well were doing well in the same two areas as the teams that were struggling. And it's these two areas, communication and accountability. We encounter this every single day in our life, and it goes without saying it's extremely important that we do these two things very well. But I can tell you, when I started to look at these teams, how well they performed or didn't perform was exactly directly proportional to how well they performed in these two areas. For instance, the A's of the world performed at a very high level. They executed communication and accountability at a high level and did very well. The C's of the world were mediocre. They had hits and misses, so they got C-grade performance. The F's of the world are borderline impressive if it wasn't so detrimentally destructive. They create a wake of disaster that is absolutely second to none. Some of you may be cringing because maybe you are on that team right now. I hope not. Or maybe you've been on that team in the past. If you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is extremely detrimental to everyone on the team. It is a morale killer and just absolutely destructive. So I started to ask myself this: why do we struggle in these areas? And it really came down to this. I'm a sports guy. I'm a hometown Hoosier. And two of my favorite sports heroes of all time are Peyton Manning and Larry Bird. And one of the things I noticed about these two guys, and that you could probably agree with me on, is neither one of these guys were great athletes. That's not where they excelled. Neither one of them was the fastest. Peyton would crawl up into a ball if he was getting ready to get sacked. Larry was known to be slow, couldn't jump over anything, but yet these two guys are absolutely elite in their sports. Why is that? And really what it comes down to is this: the muscle between their ears. These guys were elite when it came to fundamentals. They studied film, they practiced their butts off, and because of their field and court vision and knowledge, it made them an absolute nightmare for the opposing teams. If you ask anyone from this era who kept them up at night before the game, they would inevitably tell you that these two guys were the ones that did it. And the reason for that is because of how solid they were fundamentally. Incidentally, both these guys are now in the Hall of Fames in their respective classes. So I started to think about it one more level, and I started to realize this: communication and accountability are fundamentals, yet we're still struggling in these areas. Why is that? And I really believe it's because we have overcomplicated leadership. All right? We can buy 1,000,000 books out there on how to be the 65 great ways to be a leader this, the 26 traits you need to be a fantastic leader that, and some of those books are really good. I've read some myself. But ultimately, we need to make sure that we get the fundamentals down first, and communication and accountability are fundamentals. Think of it like this: you can't add the roof or the windows to a house before first laying the foundation and building the walls, right? You can't do that. It's not possible. And the same exact thing is true when it comes to communication and accountability. So raise your hand if you're a leader. If you've ever had a failure in your life that was directly linked to either communication or accountability. If you've ever had a bad boss that failed to communicate, hold themselves or others accountable. If you're married, if you're a father, a mother, you have children, you're a pastor, an athlete, a coach, it really doesn't make any difference. Because this particular aspect, while I started realizing this at work, when I started to pull the lens back on that, what I really found was these traits are crucial to all of us from the minute we wake up until the minute we go to sleep at night. Communication and accountability truly do affect everyone, no matter what you're doing in life. And every day, from the minute we wake up, again, until the minute we go to sleep, each of us is building or destroying something, right? All of our interactions, all of our communication, everything we do with everyone around us is ultimately building or destroying something. My main goal today is to shift your mindset, all right? I want to shift your mindset. If I can do nothing else, I want to do this. I want to shift your mindset so that you start seeing the world through the same lenses that I started seeing the world, through the lenses of communication and accountability. I promise when you do that, your world is going to be forever changed. All right? Each of us know this story. We're taught this when we're little kids. It's the story of the three little pigs. And to continue with the building theme, we have the piggy over on the right side of your screen who was the one that built his house with straw. And then we have the guy in the background who built his house out of sticks. The big bad wolf there in the middle, he was able to get each one of those little piggies because he was able to blow their house down. So what did they do? They ran to the third little pig on the left-hand side of the screen. Why did they do that? Because he was smart and he built his house with bricks. The third pig worked hard all day and he built his house with bricks. It was a sturdy house, complete with a fine fireplace and chimney, and it looked like it could withstand the strongest winds. And that's exactly what we need to do when it comes to communication and accountability. There are bricks in our mortar, and that's how we need to build our lives both at work and at home. So this is Malbork Castle in Poland. It was built in the 13th century, and by land area, it is literally the largest castle in the world. Matter of fact, it's a UNESCO heritage site now. It is comprised of 30 million bricks. So what do we know about brick buildings? We know this. Brick buildings are typically known to be very long lasting, right? They're weatherproof, typically waterproof, age-proof, and typically low maintenance. Some of those descriptors that I just shared with you also really work well for the type of relationships that we want to cultivate as leaders. Leading a team of folks that could be considered low maintenance and not demanding or drama-centric sounds pretty good. I know it sounds pretty good to me. Or how about building a long-lasting, weatherproof, fireproof marriage that can withstand all the harsh elements that life can throw at it? I think we would all agree that we could use more of those, right? So it's really this kind of mindset that I want to start shifting you into today, this building mindset, because it's really going to inform the rest of our discussion for the rest of the day. And just to show you how long-lasting brick can actually be, this is actually Malbork Castle as it existed after World War II. And you can see there was a tremendous amount of damage that was done to the castle, but vast majority of the brick on the outside actually remained intact. Yes, we punched holes in it. Yes, some of it got blown down, but most of the castle still remained intact. Those 30 million bricks were held pretty strong. All right, so communication and accountability. Communication, that's going to be our bricks. We have to have solid foundational things. We got to lay that foundation, we got to put up the walls, and we're going to use bricks to do that. We've talked about how sturdy those are. These are your bricks that you're going to start building with, but you need to have something that actually binds them together to make them strong. And that's where the accountability comes in, right? This is our mortar. So mortar is actually what keeps the bricks semi-pliable, gives them a little bit of flexibility, but binds them together to make them super strong, because if we just stack bricks up, we're going to blow those over pretty easily. So that's the same kind of philosophy that we're going to come to today. Building with bricks and mortar is incredibly important for you when it comes to communication and accountability. So when I started to think with that mindset, here's what I started to do, or here's what I did rather. I split my training off into two segments. So I have the communication side over on one side, that's building with bricks, and you can see all the things that I have separated off there. And then on the accountability side, that I call that applying the mortar, and you can see all of my things on that side as well. Before you leave the website, please go check out what services I have to offer you and your team to help increase your communication and accountability. I have everything from a one-day coaching session for all of your team, keynote presentations, individual leadership coaching classes, and even one-on-one leadership coaching. If you want more information, just click on any of the red buttons to start your free consultation and schedule 30 minutes risk-free, no strings attached, and let's discuss your challenges in your organization, and we'll work towards fixing them. Thank you very much. God bless.